Gary, thank you so much for that introduction and your work with the National Center and now the Native American Financial Services Association. And really thank you for your support of tribal economies that create good jobs around Indian country. I told him he's a rapper, so I wanted to hear a little bit. He says he's saving that for you for the after party. So anyway, and I'd like to especially recognize Chris Deschini, Director of the Office of Indian Energy. Thanks to Chris's vision for tribal energy independence, Native communities are seeing real benefits. And Chris, we really appreciate all your work there. Normally I'm used to seeing him out on the campaign trail in the Navajo Reservation. It's wonderful to see you back here for your period of service and all the good things that you've done. Thank you, Chris. And thank you, Chris, for all that hard work at DOE and for putting this important summit in collaboration with the National Conference of State Legislatures. So it was good to hear that Secretary Zinke was here. I want to thank him for making this meeting a priority, and I'm always glad to see Senator Hoeven. We're both committed to working hard on these important issues in the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs and doing so in a bipartisan way. And I can't tell you how much I'm honored to be here today and proud to be your partner on the Indian Affairs Committee. We have a lot of work to do in this Congress, and so we look forward to your input. My director of my staff, Jennifer Romero, is right over here. Jen, give everybody a big wave here. She's from the Santa Clara Pueblo in New Mexico, a lawyer. She served in the federal government, a special position with the Secretary of Interior in the last administration. So please make yourself known to her and let us know what your concerns are. And I really want to make sure that our committee is responsive to the needs of American Indian and Alaskan Native tribal governments, and that we continue to work on a bipartisan basis to get things done. Now, a little bit about tribal energy sovereignty. Tribal energy independence is a goal we need to strive for. Tribal energy independence means tribes have sovereignty over generation, over transmission, and the sale of energy resources. And tribal energy independence through renewable resources means the lands tribes hold sacred are protected, the air Native communities breathe is cleaner, and we continue the fight to reverse global warming, which is having, I know in New Mexico, many of the tribes are having big impacts from global warming. This goal may seem far off, but this goal may seem far off. 14% of the homes in Indian country do not even have electricity, compared to 1.4% nationwide. On the Navajo Reservation, as Chris knows well, 30% of homes don't have electricity. That's 15,000 homes. Energy costs on reservations can be up to 10% higher than the national average. Transmission lines can cost up to $60,000 per mile in remote areas on the reservation. In some rural Alaska communities, electricity costs are more than 8 times the national average. These numbers are not good. We need to do better. But consider this. While reservations account for 2% of the nation's land mass, they hold 5% of the nation's potential renewable energy resources. This is the map that is in front of you here that Chris has been very generous in providing. This shows potential resources for renewable energy on tribal lands. And you can see the kinds of potentials. You imagine the tribe you're from or the area you're from, what the potentials are. The Department of Energy estimates that wind power from tribal lands could satisfy 32% of the U.S. electricity demand. And solar production from Indian lands could generate enough energy to power the country 2 times over. Wow, I think that's big. Not only does this mean tribal energy independence, it also means economic growth. tribes can produce and sell energy. It means stronger, more diversified economies, and it means lots of good paying jobs. I want to show you a map. I've just talked about that a little bit. This is borrowed from the Department of Energy's Office of Indian Energy. As you can see on this map, American Indian and Alaska Native tribal governments have tremendous potential for producing renewable energy from wind, solar, geothermal, and biomass. Right now, wind is the most prevalent renewable energy resource on native lands. Tribes of the Great Plains have the greatest potential for wind energy resources, but there is also great potential in other parts of the country. Tribes in the Southwest have the greatest potential for solar energy, and again, there is potential to develop solar in every region of the country, and virtually every part of Indian country could produce renewable energy. We must ensure tribes have the tools and the dollars they need to tap in to those resources. A key partner in getting to tribal energy sovereignty is the Department of Energy Office of Tribal Energy. The office's provision of technical assistance, education, and financial assistance to tribes is invaluable, and it more than pays for itself. Between 2002 and 2016, the office invested $66 million in over 200 tribal clean energy projects and leveraged almost $60 million in tribal cost share. By matching federal and tribal dollars, the Office of Tribal Energy is delivering tangible results. We see more renewable energy, more energy efficiency and conservation, and more jobs. Access to capital is a huge barrier for tribes seeking energy independence. The Office of Tribal Energy provides grants and technical assistance on innovative financing strategies. For example, tribes can lease their lands for renewable projects, develop their own, or do a hybrid, lease, then purchase. The President's early budget proposal does not give any details for DOE's Tribal Energy Office. I can tell you that I will fight to maintain the office and its budget from my seat on the Energy and Water Appropriations Subcommittee. Tribal energy sovereignty is critical, and this is the one office in the federal government dedicated to that goal. We must keep it fully intact. Climate change must be a central concern of our nation's energy policy. We policymakers cannot put our heads in the sand about the reality and the perils of climate change. Climate disruption is here and now, and we must address it head on and do so aggressively. Supporting renewable energy resources fights climate change and protects our land, water, and air. In our changing energy markets, there are big challenges, especially in Indian country. In the Four Corners area, especially in Arizona and New Mexico, the coal-burning power plants are around 40 years old. They have been economic anchors for the regional economy for decades, but they are downsizing, and there are plans to eventually close them down. It is only a matter of time, and the time will be coming up fast. We all know there is a big policy debate regarding coal, but there are some undisputable facts in this particular area. These plants are old, owners have pulled out, the price of natural gas in the area is low and has been low for many years. The economics do not look good for coal to power the regional economy forever. The prudent thing to do is to plan for the future on a practical cooperative basis. And I believe the federal government has a deep responsibility to help. The Four Corners area is one of the most economically depressed in the nation and has one of the highest concentrations of Native Americans and is dependent on energy for tribal income and jobs. We must make sure tribal members are not left out in the cold. We need to make sure dislocated workers get help retraining, and good jobs. And new industries can help provide the tribal governments with much needed revenue. The Tribal Energy Office is well positioned to help with these transitions. DOE and the Department of Interior need to work together on plans to specifically target resources for Native American communities facing these transitions. Congress created and funds this DOE office along with Interior programs to help with challenges like this. I look forward to working with tribes, both agencies, and all stakeholders on these solutions. Some of these new jobs could be in the renewable energy sector. The Four Corners area has both solar and wind resources, and critically has access to major interstate transmission assets thanks to the coal plants that are already there. Building and maintaining substitute generation capacity makes logical sense as part of an overall economic development plan. The Solar Foundation recently found that 95% of solar firms in New Mexico had difficulty finding qualified applicants. These are good paying jobs. We need to make sure that American Indians and Alaska Natives are getting the resources they need to take advantage of the growth of renewable energy industries. Tribal energy sovereignty is an ambitious goal, but it is not an impossible goal. I will work with you and Congress to make it a reality. Thank you for being here, and thank you for working on behalf of tribal energy independence. Really appreciate it. Gary and Chris, wonderful to be with you, and look forward to someday hearing you rap.